Welcome back to the Old Charles. Today we are diving deep into a fascinating piece of American coin history, the United States 1 dime from 1965. This coin is unique because it represents a major change in the U.S. coinage system, and understanding its value is important for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. The 1965 U.S. dime was part of a significant transition from silver to a copper, nickel-clad composition. Prior to 1965, dimes were made from 90% silver and 10% copper, but due to rising silver prices, the Coinage Act of 1965 removed silver from dimes and quarters. This change means that the 1965 dime does not contain silver unless it was part of a special proof or collector set, making most of the circulating coins made from a copper-nickel composition. When we talk about value, the 1965 dime in circulated condition is typically worth only its face value of 10 cents. However, if you have a coin that is in uncirculated condition or part of a proof set, its value can be much higher. Collectors look for coins with sharp details, no signs of wear, and a full original luster. These factors can increase the value to a few dollars depending on the market and demand. There are also some interesting varieties of the 1965 dime that can affect value. For example, some coins were minted with double dies or other minor errors such as off-center strikes, and these error coins can be very valuable in the collector community, especially coins graded by professional coin grading services that certify their authenticity and condition. These coins can fetch tens, even hundreds of dollars depending on the rarity and condition. Condition is a key factor when determining value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, and uncirculated coins without any scratches, marks, or discoloration are always more sought after. The 1965 dime also features the familiar design by John R. Cynic with Franklin Delano Roosevelt on the obverse and a torch olive branch and oak branch on the reverse. This design has remained consistent since 1946 and adds historical significance to any collection. Collectors should also consider provenance, meaning where the coin came from and if it was part of a special set or kept in pristine condition by previous owners. Coins that come from government-issued proof sets or mint sets often have higher value because they were struck with special care and have retained their original appearance. For anyone starting a collection, the 1965 dime is an excellent example of modern coinage history. It tells the story of a transition in metals, reflects economic conditions of the time, and remains accessible for most collectors. The key to increasing value is careful handling, storage, and protective holders, and being aware of rare varieties that might appear. In conclusion, the United States 1 dime from 1965 may seem ordinary at first glance, but it carries an important historical story and collectible potential. While most coins in circulation are worth just 10 cents, there are uncirculated proof coins and error varieties that are highly sought after. By learning about condition, design, and provenance, collectors can better understand and appreciate the true value of this coin. Whether you are a beginner or experienced numismatist, the 1965 dime remains an iconic piece of American coin history that deserves attention. The history of the United States 1 dime from 1965 is closely tied to major economic and legislative changes in the mid-20th century. Before 1965, dimes were struck from 90% silver and 10% copper, a standard that had been in place for decades. The rising price of silver in the early 1960s caused concern for the U.S. Mint because the intrinsic metal value of dimes and quarters was beginning to approach and even exceed their face value. People were hoarding silver coins, and the government needed a solution. To address this issue, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965. This legislation eliminated silver from dimes and quarters and replaced it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. The new dimes consisted of an inner core of pure copper sandwiched between outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This change allowed the mint to continue producing coins at face value without worrying about losses from the rising cost of silver. The 1965 dime also continued the design introduced in 1946, featuring President Franklin Delano Roosevelt on the obverse. Roosevelt was chosen to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II and his advocacy for the March of Dimes, a foundation that helped fight polio. The reverse design features a torch symbolizing liberty, an olive branch representing peace, and an oak branch representing strength and independence. Interestingly, 1965 was also the first year that no dimes contained silver for general circulation. Special proof sets were still produced for collectors, and some of these included silver versions, but everyday coins were entirely copper-nickel. This makes 1965 a transitional year in U.S. coinage history. Collectors often note that while 1965 dimes are common in circulated condition, uncirculated examples and certain varieties can carry a premium. This is because they mark the historical shift in coin composition and represent a significant moment in the modernization of the United States Mint. In summary, the 1965 U.S. dime is not just a small piece of currency, it reflects a story of economic change, legislative action, and the enduring legacy of a president whose image continues to be recognized around the world. It bridges the era of silver coinage with modern base metal coins and remains a fascinating collectible for numismatists and history enthusiasts alike.